Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, October the 28th, 2016. Welcome to This Week in eBay. Today we're going to discuss more of your eBay concerns from last week's video and previous videos. We're also going to try and touch on some new topics. As you can see on the whiteboard behind me, we're going to talk a little bit about the hacking incident from last Friday where PayPal was affected, as well as some other sites. We're going to discuss more about promoted listings, active content, a little bit about returns, and unfortunately a returns resolution pilot loophole that I touched on a few weeks ago. So let's do a brief rehash of your comments and concerns from last week's video first. As many of you know, last Friday was a worldwide hacking incident that involved many big websites, including PayPal. This is important because I've had people tell me they were trying to buy items on eBay on Friday and were unable to do so because people like myself who require immediate payment were not actually getting the sales because the people weren't able to complete the transaction with PayPal. Now, I will tell you that I went through a very, very unusual slow period. As you can see in red, look right there where I'm pointing, in red. See those dates? Those are the important dates that I was very slow. It started on Wednesday, that would have been the 19th, and continued right through to the 25th. A prolonged period of slow sales for me, which absolutely never happens. Once in a while I'll come out here and say I had a slow day or a certain holiday caused it to be slow, which is to be expected. I never ever have 6 days in a row that is slow. Now by slow I mean 1 or 2 sales per day. That is just unheard of for me. It never happens. Now again, it started on the 19th, and there were several factors I think that contributed to this. The very first thing was Tuesday night. You may remember I talked about starting a new campaign using promoted listings. It was my first endeavor. I started the campaign on Tuesday the 19th. On Friday night I reported to you guys how I was doing. I was very disappointed at that point because I had only made 1 sale. But also I had noticed my sales in general had slacked way off, which is unusual. This continued through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I believe I went about 30 straight hours over the weekend with no sales. Unheard of, and I knew something was wrong. On Monday morning I got up. And I never get up on a Monday morning to no sales, but I got up to no sales. So I went online and I decided to check your comments from last week's video to see what you guys had to say about promoted listings. And there was somebody that wrote in and said that she had in fact tried promoted listings and that not only did she not do well, but it seemed to affect all her sales store-wide, and that she felt in some way promoted listings was obscuring her items from being found in search. So with all the negativity I'd experienced the last few days, at that point I immediately canceled all my promoted listings right then and there. Within 15 minutes I had a sale. I'm not kidding you. Now, of course, maybe it was coincidence, maybe not. As I said, that was Monday morning. However, Monday and Tuesday continued to be very slow for me. Unusually slow. 1 or 2 sales per day. Not acceptable. By the time Wednesday came around, things started changing. Sales were starting to roll in quicker. Okay? Thursday, I would consider was very good. And today is already starting off okay. So what caused it? Did it have anything to do with the hacking incident? Well, definitely on Friday, it definitely did, and possibly Saturday too. Has that resolved itself? I can't say for sure one way or the other, but here's hoping. Did promoted listings hurt me? Well, guys, I don't know. But right now, I cannot positively upsell it. It's scary to go 24 to 30 hours without a sale. I don't like it, and I don't want any part of that. Now, I was thinking about doing another experiment with promoted listings, but this time I would do it differently. Last time, I engaged approximately 650 listings out of my 1,300 because promoted listings can only be used when you have multiples of a certain item. If you only have one of an item, they will not let you use promoted listings. Eventually in the future, I think they will, but at this time they won't. What I'm thinking about doing in a possible test is just engaging my real dog items, things that never sell, and really bumping up the percentage. I had the percentage set at 10%. I may bump it up to 20% because these are items that I cannot literally give away. So anything I make on these items is good news for me. The only reason I don't do this right this minute is because I'm afraid I may experience some negativity store-wide from it, as I seem to have last week. So I'm going to hold off on doing this, but I will do it again in the future, and I will keep you guys advised how I do. To rehash, I did run the promoted listings experiment. I had expected to run it from 1 week. I started a Tuesday night and I ended it abruptly the next Monday morning because of lack of sales. I sold exactly 3 items with promoted listings and I had 650 items engaged. That in itself does not upset me, but what upset me was my whole sales store-wide plummeted to a point I have not experienced in many years, and I don't ever want to go through that again. So take that for what it's worth, guys. You do what works for you. That's just my experiences with promoted listings so far. In the future, I'll try it again. We'll see how it goes. In last week's video, I received a comment, and I also received this comment through email from somebody else about eBay putting active content in our listings, or in our searches rather, meaning, let's say you go and you view an item that you're interested in buying. At the bottom of that listing will be a video that eBay has inserted, and it's causing the listing to load slower. I've received only a handful of complaints about this, but I want to know if any of you guys have experienced this. Truthfully, I have not. But I need to attach a codicil to that, and that's only because I haven't really been buying much at all. A few weeks ago, I bought 2 big closeout deals, and I've been selling off that inventory, so that's why I haven't really experienced it. But in case you guys have any experiences with this, comment below. I want to hear about it. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that the reason why I'm inside again is because of the weather. Not just the rain, the hail. Can you believe in October we already have hail? It has been so freaking cold this week. Cold, cloudy, nasty, rainy, hail, raw. In fact, a quick cutaway so you can see what I'm experiencing right now. Oh, hey, we're back. So yeah, that's what it's like outside, and that's why I'm inside today. Now, I also had a person comment in last week's video, and I believe somebody, or maybe the same person, made this comment a while back. He said that when I'm doing screenshots, my audio level drops considerably. And I know that is correct and true. Right now I'm using what I call my professional camera, and the audio levels are always very good on this. But when I do the screenshots, I have to use my headset. Okay? And I do notice the audio levels drop considerably, and I don't know how to fix it. This is the headset in question right here. Okay? This is a professional Microsoft headset, not a cheapie Caldor Special. So yeah. Now another topic you guys commented on last week were buyers contacting you off eBay to do a return. One guy even wrote in about having sold a motorcycle, I believe it was, and the buyer contacted him directly after 37 days with a complaint. He didn't contact him through eBay, he contacted him at his brick and mortar store. And that indeed is a problem, guys. It really is a problem, and it's going to be worse with the new returns resolution pilot program. And I'll get to that in a second, but what I want to say is, when people do that, I like to tell them on the phone. I say, Guy, you're supposed to contact me through eBay. You purchased this from me through eBay. We need to keep the transaction on eBay. Now, a lot of times they'll say something like, well, I don't know how to do it. And I'll say, no problem. I will contact you on eBay, and when you get the email, you can respond to it. Okay? It's very important to keep contact on eBay because sometimes things can get tricky. In addition, with the new returns resolution pilot program, you're going to want to keep the returns on eBay and use their return flow, because if you just cancel the sale like I used to do and like many of you used to do in the past, you will not be able to get back your original shipping. Again, in a couple of minutes we'll get into that in detail. I also had mentioned in last week's video about some people contacting me on eBay asking me to do their research for them so they could go out and make money. And I was kind of surprised that several of you guys chimed in and said that you have had that happen too. That really perplexes me, guys. I mean, there are very few things that perplex me, that really stymie me. The last time I think I was this stymied was when I heard somebody went to the movies in the middle of the day all alone. But other than that, guys, do your own research. I'm sure all of you guys would do your own research, but it's very unfair when a person contacts us asking us to do their work for them. That's the way I feel. Now let's get to the returns resolution pilot program, because there's a loophole in there that I brought up 2 or 3 weeks ago. And in last week's video, I read a comment from Blue Llama Pilot eBay store guy calling it out again. So I figured I'd bring this up again because it's important. For those of you guys that are indeed opted into eBay's returns resolution pilot program, there is one major fallacy. All right? Let's say you sell somebody something for $100 plus $10 shipping. The buyer gets the item and he realizes he screwed up. He bought the wrong size, or it's the wrong color, or he don't like it. What we call buyer remorse. Okay, he initiates a return. You accept the return. The item comes back to you. Now you go to close out the return. There is a screen that says return $100 for the item. Then under it is a box that is unchecked, and it would say $10 shipping. Then on the bottom it says total $100, meaning eBay has a preset for you just to return the cost of the item itself and not the original shipping. However, if for some reason you want to give back the original shipping, you would then check that box and it would increase the amount to $110 and you'd refund them the money. But you don't have to refund them the money because it's a case of buyer remorse. So I am in the program, and as you know, as I spoke last week, I got several returns, and a couple of them, at least 2 or 3 of them, were for items that I charged shipping on. And because it was buyer remorse, I did not refund the original shipping. Now the loophole is that the buyer could still leave us negative feedback in a case of buyer remorse. And I think that's wrong and it needs to be addressed. Guys, I have a reputation of being an eBay fanboy, and I am. But what differentiates me from other eBay fanboys is I come out here and I tell it like it is. If I see something that is not right or I feel is unfair, I will speak up. I do not push anything under the carpet. I do not feel buyers who return items for buyer remorse should be allowed to leave negative feedback. What do you guys think about this? I think I suspect what you would have to say about this, but I would like to hear from each and every one of you on that topic, especially you guys who are already enrolled in the eBay Returns Resolution Pilot Program. I want to know this. Have you guys returned the original shipping, or have you not returned it? Have you had any experiences? I want to hear about them. Now, usually I get 3 or 4 returns a week. However, this week I did not, only because last week was so slow, okay? I just finally caught up now to all my returns from last time, all right? The last one came in yesterday, and I did not refund the original shipping. The days of me refunding the shipping are over. Done. For buyer remorse. There's just too much going on. Now granted, I do sell a lot of cheaper items that I send first class, or cheaper items that are 1 pound priority mail. Those I will continue to offer free shipping, because we're only talking between $3.50, oh I'm sorry, $2.60, anywhere up to maybe $6. That's a different story. I'm talking about my larger items where the shipping is going to be $20 or more. No more free shipping on those. Everybody's paying. I have some old listings that are what I would call grandfathered up that still have free shipping on them. Larger items. Eventually, I'll change them over. It's not an emergency. But anyway, that is my feeling on the issue. Now I want to hear from you guys. Comment below on any of the topics that I've mentioned. I'm especially interested in the Returns Resolution Pilot Program, what you think about it, and what you think about the loophole I discussed. I would also like to know about your sales for the week. Were they a lot lower than usual? I have been talking on the Facebook groups. I'd say 75% of the people were complaining, but 25% weren't. I'm one of the people that was a lot slower than usual. I want to hear from you because I'm Crazy New York Driver and you're not. Thanks for watching. See you guys next week right here on the Crazy New York Driver Show. Hope your sales increase big time. Go out, have a good weekend, rock on, and peace! Yeah!